Okay, so I'll just say to bear with me on the video a little bit this week. There's a few awkward shadows on my face, which is maybe mildly distracting, but as the sun comes up, those all sort of fade. And there's a little bit of microphone distortion for some reason in the beginning. Maybe I'm too close to it or something, but that all resolves itself. I don't think it's that bad anyways, but what is there does resolve itself. I'm editing this video right now, and I just popped in to put this up here, and it's not worth re-recording. The content's accurate, it's on, and the video just sort of clears itself up as it goes. I recorded this video yesterday, Friday, and today, not Saturday morning. Beautiful morning, as you can see, in the winter here in Thailand. And today I've got to go buy some stairs, some wood for the house. Oh, and as soon as this is done, I'm going to go wash my motorcycle. So I'm going to have a beautiful day retired, and this video will help you learn how to do that for yourself as well. So take care. Oh God, I'm way too close. That's scary. I want to make this will be a companion video to the one prior about being rich in retirement, which in that one I think an extremely useful definition of rich. What is rich and how that would work for you and what that might mean to you. Which you can choose to buy into or not, of course. And then on this video, I kind of want to share some financial information. I may have to disable the comments on this because I get so many scammers, and obviously scammers are about money, so a video about money could get bad. And my food's arriving. This is going to be really about managing your money. So first is going to be retiring without any kind of pension income coming in is going to be very difficult. And I'll caution you on retiring before you get your pension. Now, if you can do the arithmetic and all that, and you know your pension for sure is coming in so many handful of years or less, and you know how much money you can have, and you're a good planner and you're disciplined, I mean, heck, that can be a brilliant plan. That really can. But just keep in mind that the inherent danger of that, please. Setting that aside, generally speaking, the first thing you want to do is and have your pension income, and I mean in your hot little hands first. I did not do this. I made a calculated thing. I did the calculated thing, and I had calculated correctly, and I also got lucky. But it was risky and it was stressful. But in my particular circumstances, 4 years ago, it was the best decision for me. So I understand there's exceptions. But okay, so generally speaking, pension in your hot little hands first, because that little basis is you might think $1,300 or $1,600 or $2,500 U.S. or even whatever you're used to for a budget. Even $3,000 a month U.S., $3,500 might seem like a small amount to some people to live on. That as a total monthly budget. But when you're retired and you're in Thailand, that's a giant income. And to go without that is to give up a giant income is that's a big give. So you want to do that very seriously. Think about that long and hard, please. Don't come here, try to retire, be unable to, and then go back. Those guys are really unhappy and a bit bitter, in all honesty. So anyway, so then the next thing you want to do, so what's kind of typical here? Honestly, a lot of guys here have one pension. Some have two, and I've seen guys with up to four, but typically it's one. And then they have a savings, and the savings is usually a couple $100,000 U.S. The Social Security numbers that I sort of hear, or general, not Social Security so much, but pension numbers in general, start at around $1,300 to $1,500 U.S. per month. And then I know Social Security itself maxes out somewhere around $3,500 per month U.S. So that's sort of the The range, generally speaking, in my opinion, if you're somewhere $2,000-ish, you're in very, very solid, great shape here with a nice, healthy, fat budget. And a lot of guys share or volunteer. They have a couple $100,000 US, and some guys have more. And honestly, I run into guys from time to time, and I get to know them a little bit, and they're comfortably into the seven figures. And living here with that kind of money, you're just disgustingly wealthy. I mean, there's no other way to. I'm not saying disgustingly anything wrong with that, but it's a lot of money. That's a lot of money here. So you can kind of gauge from there. But now, you see, you've got some relative barometer to kind of gauge a little bit yourself where you might be at. And then I'll tell you, there's two math rules. The first is the 5% rule, which for me, I use 4%. I'm uncomfortable spending up to the limit because my intent is to be the rare guy that actually retires and retires a long time and enjoys it all. And that's very hard to do health-wise, so that I couldn't tell you. I have no idea what's going to happen. And that's very hard to do money-wise, and that I have some control over. So generally speaking, you want to have, if you have like an annuity or just a check coming in, that's one thing. But if you have, and also additionally a pile of money you're managing to live off of, there's sort of two ways you can do it, and you can do any percent, combination of the two. And that would be, you can do income producing assets. So like Coca-Cola has a dividend producing stocks. So you can live off, if you can live off your dividends, that's fantastic. But that's a tall ask. But you can look at that. And then the other way is to have stocks that go up in value every year. A combination of stocks and bonds or whatever. I'll talk about that in a minute. That go up in value every year. And then as a general rule, and this is a broad financial rule they use to apply to everyone in all circumstances, which means it doesn't. But investment advisors will generally tell you can take between 4 and 5% of your total pile every year, because your money will go up 7 or 8 or 10% a year. And if you're spending 5, then the problem with that, and they'll tell you, the caution is that there'll be down years. There'll be years your portfolio loses and you've pulled money out, so oops. And then the other caution I'll give you is, on the first year you start, I wouldn't count the whole pot. Let's just say you've got $250,000 US. I would take 50 and have that in cash, and then the 200 I would keep invested. Honestly, relatively aggressively would be my take on it, but you do what you are comfortable with, and then know that as it grows, hopefully aggressively, you're just going to pull out your 4% a year, which in this case would be $8,000 US, which gives you an extra, whatever that is, $700 a month or something you can take in addition to your pension that you have. And plus you've got your $50,000 cash cushion. So again, I wouldn't recommend you buy a house or anything like that. Real estate's a terrible investment. Here, look at my videos on that. Real estate's just, the Thais put a very, very high, artificially high value on owning. And if you want to own, you don't have to compete with them in their real estate market. And because they have a cultural value to it that in no way imparts anything of value to you as a foreigner. So now in fact, I don't even own the house. I've given it all to Fawn. I just have a right of occupancy and a right of property use, two rights, two separate documents. Just because you can live there doesn't mean you can use it. And I have a right of occupancy and a right of use, something like that, and signed off by the village elder. They're not even registered officially by the government. They're just at the village level. So I've done the most flim-flam thing you can do. You can see how much stock I put in the Thai laws. Not that this is a lawful country, but to put all your hopes and dreams and a lot of your money into real estate, thinking and hoping and wishing it survives a heated conflict with your Thai ex-wife as you divorce and go through court, man, I don't like those odds. I've seen two guys do that and they both lost. And the one for sure should not have. So I just don't want that stress in my life. I just admit to myself that I have the right to use the home, but I could actually kick Fawn out and her kids. I mean, I guess you'd like to see me try and do that. I don't know how that would go over in the village, although her family's quite ethical. If her parents were still alive in this hypothetical example, I'd probably do fine. But if it was just Fawn and her adult boys, and if something has gone that bad, then that means something has happened. Someone in the family's gotten into drugs or something, and now it's just gotten ugly, and which is my hint to then move. That's how I would take that. Because I know two men personally. Well, no, I take that back. I know one man personally rather well, and I wish I didn't know him this well because it's such a sad and ugly story. And the other guy I just know of rather well. I've never met the guy, but they both stayed and fought on their real estate of their houses with their past their. One wife died and one got a divorce and won in court. Hey, he won, and both were disfigured permanently. So they're both alive still, as far as I know, but. It's not a life you'd want. I guarantee you that. The one guy I know for sure is not a life you'd want. Anyways, but enough about that. So moving on into about money. So the 4 to 5% rule. Keep in mind, you've got to kind of get yourself, you wrap your head around some basic arithmetic a little bit. Keep in mind, 4% is 20% less than 5%, right? So if you're pulling 4% out of your portfolio, you're being 20% more conservative than if you were pulling out 5 every year. That's how you got to think of every little percentage and fraction of a percentage over a long period of time means a lot. And here's the next number I want to teach you, the rule of 72. I'll give you a couple of examples, and then you can look this up on a search engine on the internet and figure it out for yourself. But the rule of 72, this is something every money manager knows and knows like the back of his hand. And so if your investments were appreciating at a level of 7.2% per year, a tenth of 72, right? 7.2% per year, your money would double in 10 years. If your money was appreciating, your investments appreciating at a rate of 10% per year, your money would double in 7.2 years. Look at the difference between 10% and 7.2%, how your money doubles 3 years sooner, 2.8 years sooner. Big difference. Why does your money doubling matter to you? Well, it's twice as much money is why it should matter to you. And if you get into higher rate of return investments, which is what I do, my money typically doubles every 5 to 5.5 years. Wow. And I still only pull 4 to 5% out, generally speaking. So that I'm comfortable, and I have a pension on top of this. So I feel comfortable. I'm not rich. This isn't the Rob bragging about how he's rich episode. This is, you see how I live. I live economically as I kind of need to, but lucky for me, it's a fit. I don't want a Ferrari. I don't want a brand new nice muscle car is $90,000 back home, and I would really struggle to afford that. That would be a big purchase for me, and I don't really want one. Could I buy a brand new $35,000 Subaru or Mazda or Chevy or something, or Honda for me and my son? Yes, I can do that, and that's about what I would like anyways. So I've scaled my life to be a fit for what I have, and what I have is now a fit for my life. That's more on the prior video to this, but you get the idea. But I'll tell you to be cautious when you plan this out, and to plan this assiduously and carefully and over a long period of time, and triple check yourself 10 times. And pick your 2 or 3 smartest friends and go through this, because this is an area where a lot of guys get it wrong. I don't know why. I've always been kind of a math guy. Okay, I get that, but so maybe math's more important to me and more in the forefront of my thinking than most people, but a lot of guys come here, live a certain higher on the hog for a shorter number of years, and then they scale it way back. And of the guys that I know about, to a man, it was all because they had to. So it's probably that way for all of the guys. Not many people scale their life back suddenly and drastically unless they had to. So I'm going to assume that's probably the case. But what matters to you is this is an easy thing to get wrong. And it's very important. If you don't have the money to maintain your retirement, you're not going to be having a very nice time. And really, it's not that difficult to do here. In fact, it's 100 times easier here than back home. You're 5 times richer if you come out where I am. If you get out into the Isan region anywhere, Isan region out there anywhere, if you get, 2 hours away from all the big tourist areas, all that tourism money, international money kind of fades, and you get back into the cost of living of an actual Thai person, which is very modest. And again, if you look at, which again is an option very, very few guys choose, which I think is not a good choice. I disagree, but everyone can have their own. That's fine. But I think more guys would be happier if they married a good traditional cultural Thai or Thai Isan woman because they're frugal. I can't get Fawn to spend any money. We're always staying at a cheaper hotel than I'd prefer because it's morally offensive to her to stay at a fancy hotel. Not that I'm some posh guy, but a comfortable hotel with a nice pool and a nice pool and a nice gym would mean something to me, and those are invariably more expensive. And Fawn's always pushing back, so I get the little pool and the crummy gym. But I'm on vacation, and I don't really need to be doing a 2-hour workout in their little rinky-dink gym anyway, so it's all fun. I mean, like I care. I'm having a good time anyways. Some of the places we go to, these hop-in places, they don't even have breakfast. There's a coffee machine in the lobby that makes barely passable coffee, but generally there's a Starbucks or something nearby. And the Thailand Starbucks are very nice. I enjoy them. Back home I never go. Here I always go. So things are different. Another thing to think about too is that you're going in an upward position, even if you're starting out kind of low. If your budget's increasing every year a little bit, and then following the 4 to 5% rule, part of the intent is you are perpetually growing in your wealth, and so every year you have a little more. And then the other thing too is if you have so much money, I wouldn't count that whole pot. Like on that $250,000 example, you hold back 50 in cash. I would kind of not count that. I would kind of like in your mind be living off the 200 and kind of forget about the 50. And even if you had like 270 and you spent and the 20, 50 is your cash, 20 is what you're going to live off the first year, and all these little games you can play to make your money go longer. And just here, there's no winter. I mean, you're never going to see snow here. The only ice you're going to see is on your margarita. I mean, enjoy all those things that are free. A lovely lady can be very inexpensive if you actually pick a nice person. Most guys spend all their money and a ton of money and blow all their money and lose their money to a woman. And by most, I think, literally over 51%. It's crazy here. So many guys come here, and it's like the thought of planning becomes offensive to them. And they're just going to go, and they're just going to go for broke. It's like you gave a guy that never saved a dime in his life, and you gave him 10 grand and a ticket to Vegas. He's screwed. He might not come back alive, right? It's kind of that sort of thing happens here to, I think, most guys. I think it's way over half. So I'll tell you to be cautious, and I'll tell you then to be financially conservative. You're a wild guy, and you want to party, you want to run a big bar tab, and you all that. Great, but come up with a plan where you can do that in some kind of way that you don't drink all your money away in the first 3 years. Those guys are unhappy, and you see them all the time here. They got this hangdog look on their face, like they've just been beaten down. I mean, they look terrible. And you talk to some of these guys, and it's really a bummer of a conversation. I hate to say it. I need to leave at that point. I got to go run my errands, go do something else, because talking to those guys is a mega downer. And there's nothing I can do to help them. I'm talking to a 65, 67-year-old, 58-year-old man. I mean, they've made their life choices. Nothing I can do to help them. And they wouldn't listen if you tried. So I listen a little bit, politely nod, and say, "Oh, look at that time. Well, Rob's got to go, and I'm off to go do my thing." Speaking of which, we'll be wrapping this up shortly here. And today's chest day. Rode my beautiful motorcycle. Oh, you can't quite see it in the background. It's just off camera there a little bit. I'll take a still of it and throw it in here. Good cappuccino. Very good kai gata. Eggplate is kai gata. And fantastic. And had a little Thai short. She called this bang bing. Bang for kanom bang, and then bing like barbecued toast. I'll have to circle back and ask Fawn, well, I'm saying Usani later today, if Bang Bang is an acceptable Thai shore, if that's just that woman's way of saying it because of her limited language skills with me as a foreigner. We'll find out. I got to research. I don't like to start picking stuff up right away unless I check it and I try to wrap my head around it first so I can understand it a little. Anyways. But that's kind of my thought on money. It bites the overwhelming majority of us in the butt in retirement. You knew that before you turned this video on. And those are the two main things I do, the rule of 72 and the 4 and 5% rule. Those are the two things I really follow to keep myself out of trouble. And then here, credit cards are not a thing. We're talking about money, so credit cards are not a big thing here. Check and make sure, because some don't. Make sure if you're bringing a credit card or a debit card or a card tied to some big bank account of yours or something, that it works internationally. Try and check it best you can before you get here and count on it. So I'd have backup. I'd bring paper checks for sure. I never ended up using mine, but I had them out of my drawer a couple times. I was close to needing them, and I was able to find a workaround, but I almost had to go paper check, which was a 6-week hold or something on international money here. But having money coming in 6 weeks is better than not. And I've had 3 or 4 times I had friends send me MoneyGrams here, which is insanely expensive. But I was in trouble and I needed money and I couldn't get access to any of my money at all here. And that's a common problem your first few months as you get this sorted. Because Thais are leery of giving bank accounts to foreigners because so many people launder money. Money laundering is really big in Thailand. It's a big problem. And the Thai government, to their credit, really cracks down on it. But it's Mobop, and there's all these foreign guys, Russian guys, Chinese guys coming here, and they do all this. I don't know what it's all about, probably drugs or something, but there's always money laundering all the time on the news. So, anyways, so getting a bank account can be a pain. That's definitely something you want to focus on. And otherwise, I use cash, and they have a phone app in your bank. Your bank will give you a phone app that's very secure. It's any purchases over a certain amount, you set the limit. It will 3D scan your face. Your phone will scan your face, and the original face scan has to be at a main branch of your bank. Like they try to limit the fraud here. The Thai government honestly does, and I would work with all their safety protocols. And the ATMs all have a limit. You can't get more than 50 grand a day out of an ATM to save your life. So again, to keep you from being kidnapped and having money bled out of you, at least they can only get 50 grand a day. I mean, there's just all these things to try to keep us from getting drunk and face planting somewhere in Pattaya and getting mugged. We still do. Foreigners are all over the news every night in Thailand. It'd be funny if it wasn't so sad. So try not to be one of those guys, okay? If you're watching my channel, I appreciate you, and I hope that this helps you. And meet with your financial advisor. I probably could have led with that one back home. Meet with them multiple times and go through this. And do your online verification of everything and check the bank you want to use and use one of the 3 main banks of Thailand, which is Kasikorn, Krung's Tri, or however you say it, and then Bangkok Bank, which is what I use. Those are the 3 main ones. They're more used to working with foreigners. I get the occasional professional argue, well, Rob, you could use any bank. Yeah, go ahead. It's no skin off my nose. But those are the 3 that work with foreigners the most often. Okay? That's it. I'm going to go finish my cappuccino and go do chest day on my beautiful motorcycle. And I got a lovely, really heavy, special, fancy dinner tonight with Fawn. So we're doing that. Okay, sound test 1, 2, 3. I got no idea if this venue could work, but gosh, it would be nice. There, this is my morning. There's the construction workers having their little morning thing. I just had the foreman over there, all in Thai. There is 0 English accommodation where I live. And going over the house, you can just see. And going through colors, what color, what room, and one color has to be blended. So, morning, so what do you got? I just got here at the gym, little brother, on my beautiful motorcycle. First highway ride on the new seat. Wow, that nailed it. That's our excellent cleaning lady. I'm not being blown off the bike. I was being blown off the bike. I spent the first month going, my God, how does Todd stay on the damn bike? Now it isn't a problem anymore at all. And it took a good ripper because I felt morally and ethically obligated to, away from the red light just before the gym here. There's about a mile-and-a-half stretch of protected highway that nobody can come in either side. So you've just got this like bowling alley you can blast down. Not that I would ever take advantage. And I stayed firmly on the bike for that too. Totally comfortable, totally relaxed. Much more relaxing experience. I locked up my bike, and then I've got a little phony baloney helmet lock, or actually an old backpack lock from, gee whiz, 20 years ago back in the States. Never thought I'd use it to lock my helmet to my Harley Davidson in Thailand. What the heck? But here we are. You cannot foresee some circumstances. Here's a little quick video pan inside the house as it stands today. That's a big wide door going into the living room that I could pull my motorcycle in from. That's my bar alcove. You can see the ceiling. The guy up there is painting. There we are. That's Coonpaw having a chat with Coonpaw. He's burning something. More power to him. Wednesday morning, it's a big monk day. You could maybe just hear the bells or whatever it is in the background. Coffee, third and last cappuccino for the morning. Early morning. Later on, I'll have another one because I'm retired. Yeah, I got my bathtub tile and a couple of pieces of glass for the showers. Doing the shower glass style, my style from the States, which I'm surprised is a thing here they have, but they do, and I bought it. Yeah, heck, back home, I'd just be sitting in my little apartment, probably hardly talking to anybody because nobody's freaking retired. So today I'm taking Fawn's family on a little treat, mostly for her dad. He's such a heart of gold. Going to this farm he really likes, and I think, yeah, you know, it's a big time milk farm, famous dairy farmer guy's like a Thai billionaire or something. So, thank you for watching my YouTube video. If you've watched this far, please consider hitting like and subscribe.